and define how you do your religious piety. Like in the Roman Catholic tradition now, that we will look at tomorrow, there was nothing like the universal priesthood of all believers. The Roman Church, the papacy dictates exactly everything that happens. So if you cannot go through the papacy, forget it. You have no access. As far as Jeremiah is concerned, and you're going to see this in verse 34a, he says that there shall no longer anyone to teach you what you ought to know about God and how you worship Him. You worship God. Knowledge of the Lord is going to be what? Open to all. Everyone will have access to this God. Everyone will know this God. Everyone will love this God. And everyone will worship this God. He said that from the lowest to the what? To the greatest, there is going to be common knowledge. All of them will have access to who? To Yahweh. Verse 34 what? A. Now, verse 34b produces or provided what I call a new law that was going to give birth to what I call amnesia. And amnesia in the sense that he says this: anyone and everyone that has done wrong, that has what? Lost connection with me, has committed sin against me, has walked against me, has not been reading my billings, such a person is considered a sinner and by the law subject to what? To punishment and wrath. But look at what he says in verse 34b. I will forgive their iniquities and remember their sins no more. The new covenant relies on God's mercy, not on the performance of the present, not so much of what we are able to do, not because there are laws that we are going to follow them meticulously, that A must be A and B must be B, and that whatever you need to do to fulfill the law must be done. This time around, it is not on the basis of what we are able to do, but what God is able to do for you. And I call that what? Amnesia. Do you know what amnesia simply means? Let's say to delete memory or to delete a document, and the document is never to be what? To be found again. So God deletes the memories of their sins, of their iniquities against Him, and He counts it no more against them. Now you can see Paul now taking this idea in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, where he says that God has forgiven them so much so that He no longer counts their sins against, but He is counting it against who? Against Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ has taken your sins and He no longer counts your iniquities. It doesn't matter what you do. And every time you commit a sin, the evil one now, or the adversary, and who is the adversary? Satan, right? And the Bible also calls him an accuser of the... Are we there? Each time there is a sin from your part against God, the adversary now goes directly to God and look at God. Let me use anthropomorphism. Hello? I should use what? Anthropomorphism to say that He will go to God. Anthropomorphism simply means that the language that is attributed to God is used in human terms. Yes, sir. So that we are speaking human word in connection to God. That is the meaning. So I'm going to illustrate it now. The devil now goes to God and look at him, eyebrow to eyebrow, and say, look at the lady that you are proud of, that you have redeemed her, but she has sinned against you. So all that you need to do at this material time, cast her to hell. And Christ will look at him, eyebrow to eyebrow, and say, look at my fierce hand. I have paid your price. I have what? I have paid it all. So no longer is any condemnation, as Paul will tell us in Romans 8, for those who are in Christ. But now I'm connecting to number. John 2 what? Why the question quickly is, why would Jesus go out of his way to challenge the audacity of the powers that be? The Pharisees. The what? Because the transaction was happening in the what? Who were in church? The Pharisees, isn't it? So by implication, if anything was happening in the temple, it means that somewhere behind the scene, the Pharisees sanctioned it. Let's go to John. Why would Jesus challenge the authority of the money changers? Because as far as this text is concerned, we do not know how long that lingered. We do not know how long that practice lingered. But one thing we know is that because it has been happening until Jesus' time, it means that it was an established practice accepted by the powers of the day. And so anyone that would challenge it now is bringing something radically new, something that would, with the potential of being interpreted as challenging the authority of the powers. So it takes only a powerful person to challenge the powers of some other powerful person. So when Jesus acted by doing what he did, we need to connect with Exodus chapter 3. He said to Moses, Moses says, if I go and I stand before him and I tell him that you have sent me, that he should let my people go, and he asks the question, who is that God? What should I tell him? He says, tell him I am has sent you. I am is the greatest of all claims that anyone can ever make. So, for Jesus now coming in John chapter 15 and other places to lay claim to that which Yahweh said of himself, I am, it simply means that he was simply claiming that he is who? He is God. And if he is God, according to Exodus now, he decided the choice of the one that was going to serve him, and especially the choice in Exodus 19, by bringing them to be a nation of what? Priests. He is now saying that he is their owner, and if he is their owner, I recruited them to worship him and to serve him in the temple. Now the temple is to be devoted and dedicated to him. Oh, you are not getting it. I'm far over Chico. So the temple belongs to who? Belongs to God. And now later on, if Jesus is God, it means the temple is his own. And if the temple belongs to him, whatever takes place in the temple is meant to glorify and honor him. But what he saw happening now is the what? Is the contrary. And it is this contradiction that Jesus is out to correct. So, but to do that, he will have to tell them that he is the one that has everything, whether in the temple or out there, he is the one to be worshipped. So he says that. Now, you're not going to see Jesus making explicit reference to Jeremiah 31 through to 34. But what he is saying is that he's simply emphasizing the fact that whatever that happens in the temple, I am the embodiment of everything that has to do with the fulfillment of piety worship. And it is only when you get it right that can be go right. If you get it wrong, it is totally what? Wrong. And the wrong must be corrected. And the one with the audacity to correct is the one who established the source of worship. So he says, I am. And because I am, he now went quickly to bring the Father to say, well, I am not laying claim in human terms to say that I am the owner of the temple, but my Father is, because at this point, in the flesh, under the incarnation, I am the Son. So the temple that you are corrupting is the house of my Father, who shall receive worship, who shall receive adoration, who shall be exalted in this temple. But what I see you doing is more of corruption, the type and typical of Nigeria. Bible students. Did you hear me? Bible what? What exactly do I mean by Bible students? So long as you are in the seminary, you are a Bible what? You are a Bible student. For me, I am here to see a bold, blunt, strong person like Jesus. I'm here to see one. Am I here to wait to go for courage and say, you people create of your father and your I mean, he's not talking to an ordinary what?
Person.
And he will say, your will is to do. That is exactly who Jesus was, and that is what he did. Now he did that because, listen, if anyone must worship God, he will tell us now in John chapter 4 that worship is beyond the physicality, that worship is beyond appearance, that worship is beyond decoration. It has nothing to do whether you have the color in you or you don't have it. That is not what it matters. It doesn't matter whether you are one who is ordained or not. So long as God is concerned, worship is for the ordinary. And the ordinary before God is the one who worships him in spirit and truth. It has nothing to do with your religious office. It has nothing to do with the fact that the provost is before you. Listen carefully. The provost may be the worst before God. Because in this church, in this community, when we talk about hypocrisy, I am sure it was established before you. So leadership does not determine spirituality. So Jesus says to them, correct your religious practice. The reason is because whatever you are doing today, you are not glorifying me, you are not worshiping me. You are doing, you are perpetrating corruption and you are passing it. In the Nigerian context, much of where corruption has come to stay.